Here we go. Right, so this is Will We Unban Overclocked, and he is playing a 1 versus 10 insane computers. I guess he just liked the number 10, a nice round number. So he's up at the top left, as we can see, and the rest of his opponents are all insane computers that are random. So we've got a bit of Orc, we've got Night Elf, a lot of Orc. There's a sprinkling of Undead. And some human. Wow, so much Orc. That's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Orc have the auras, and they have the heals with the Shadow Hunter, which is annoying to deal with. And they do have nasty bats. But I don't think Orc is the hardest race to fight in this. I think Undead is one of the hardest races to fight in this by a long shot. It's by far the most aggressive. So this is actually pretty good for Overclocked. It's a good start. Because the Undead, the only Undead as far as I can tell, is at the actual opposite end of the map, and they're by far the most aggressive. From my experience of fighting against like insane computers, doing like 1 versus 11, it's always the Undead that attacks first. Almost always. I can't always say, because there might be at a time where it was a human or something, but generally speaking, I've played it a lot, and Undead is like, whoa, I've got 5 ghouls, I've got 4 fiends, I'm going straight to your base. Like, the rest of the races are just like dippy and walking back and forth on the map, but the Undead is like, I have to kill you. Should have turned on the free heroes. Yeah, probably not, because that makes them all go derp. So Overclocked is going with Shadow Hunter first. I was just thinking, if I was playing this myself, what hero would I go first? I think probably Farseer would be the better pick. Blade Master is awesome and has all the potential of his crits, but it's hard to just stand there and do damage as a Blade Master when you're up against 10 armies. You can only do that for so long, and then he's relatively useless. At least the Farseer is long range. He can poke, he can do chain lightning to keep aggro, or you can use wolves to harass and keep the computer busy, or get their attention. And then of course he's got Earthquake. So I think Farseer is actually a lot stronger than people give him credit for. Blade Master's a little overrated, in my opinion. Yes, he can. Well, he can't know. Only if you type to all. So, yeah, the computer's just chilling. Waiting until they got a few units before they start moving out. So, the prime time for Overclocked to essentially dominate the map. He's got this kind of cool grey colour. He won't stand out so much on the map unless I do this. No, even then that doesn't help, because on the mini-map, he stays the same grey. So, we may as well just keep the colours all separate. You know that basically if you see grey and Orc, it's Overclocked. I think everyone wants to beat Overclocked up. Oh yeah, you might be wondering why we're even doing this. This is like an Unban challenge. Because Overclocked pushes luck once again. He didn't do anything too bad, but basically he told me to get good, which is, yeah, actually that is pretty bad. So essentially he wasn't being polite. He was misbehaving, as he normally does, and instead of basically doing the right thing, he decided to do the wrong thing and push his luck verbally against me. And as such, I have the power, and I will assert that power and force him into playing games to be unbanned, because that's the kind of shallow human being that I am. I thought that was one of the computers that left for a moment there. I was like, how's that possible? Yeah, computer's pretty chill, although Teal's having a good go. Night Elf's quite, explores quite a bit. You can see the Undead's pretty active. But the rest of the races might still be just standing still for a long time. I think the humans are normally the most inactive. Not sure why that is. It's got the double gauntlets, which ain't going to do much for him here, unless he can give it to a Tauren Chieftain later. He hasn't teched, has he? No. You start off with the Great Hall as Orc, so he's still ploughing away. Ah, there we go. He's now attacking the trees, which is going to take a while with 1 peon. Because... oh, humans moving. And Overclocked is putting some pressure on one of the computers. He's going to get poked if he's not careful by multiple spears. Oh! Well, he's invoked the wrath of one of the computers. But that could be okay if he can find a way to beat that computer. Which, if he angles himself and goes for the headhunters, yeah, his grunts could probably win the fight. Which is probably what he's trying to do. But green is on his way. Headhunter not able to pull back, but Overclocked now pincered. Exactly what yellow was trying to do. Pull Overclocked into a vulnerable position so his ally could take complete advantage. Very clever work there from the computers. There's a bit more attention coming Overclocked's way. So this tends to happen when you play against 11 computers. Is like 9 times out of 10 they'll basically attack you if you don't build enough units or if you tech too quickly or something like that. Generally speaking, they're always going to try to attack you because they find out that essentially you're the only one on the map. And they need to put an end to that. Because then they can go home. Back to the Matrix. Hey, that's some nice grunt play. Almost saved them all. So I think Overclocked is basically hoping now that they just forget that he's going to be at the top left of the map. Even though the computer map hacks. But it uses that map hack in a very weird way. Kind of as and when is needed. Not actively. Just because it knows you're there doesn't mean it's going to kill you. It's normally triggered to be told, right, I've crept everything, or I don't need an expansion, I don't need to tech, I want to go attack. Who do I attack? Okay, player at top left. The town portal has bought Overclocked a bit of time because it's basically triggered the computer to go back to default mode, which is like creep. But they're going to run out of things to do soon. They're probably forgetting why they're even here in the first place. Especially that night elf, he looks very lost. Overclocked's grunt. Down for the count. Unless it's this guy's grunt, because he's the same colour practically, so it must be that guy's grunt. He's sending them off on a death mission. The ghouls are coming over as well. They're going to try to help the grunt creep this, but I think it might take a bit more. You can do it. It's just a couple of level 9 granite golems and some trolls. So Overclock's cleared the path to an expansion at the top. And he's working on this one. So doubling up expansions. Very good. When I do this, I try, if I can, to sneak expansions in enemy territories. Because the longer the game goes on, the harder it is to sort of access points like here or down here. So if you can sort of set up peons to build nearby or chop trees nearby, it's hard because you need the resources and it's a long time that they have to travel and they could get killed along the way, but you kind of need to have it happen because the computer will go for you, and if all of your bases are in the same place, it makes it much easier for the computer to wipe you out. Yeah, the computer does have a lot of units. It might start getting laggy soon, because the computers can only handle so many commands. I think they might actually finish the middle. No, that's not strong enough to do the middle. He's probably going to lose everything here. Although there is more coming from the left-hand side. He's good micro with his Death Knight. I think he might be okay, actually. So this is the time that Overclocked is using to secure expansions. He's getting a little bit trolled though. His grunts can't make it through this thin path because he's being blocked. Now they can. Blade Master grabbing the goods. Inferno Stone is actually trash. I mean, it's still going to be strong versus Overclocked, but of course the changes that they made to balance, where they made artifact items include the Inferno Stone. I don't like that change. I wish they didn't do it, because it means on Market Square, instead of getting a Kellen's Dagger, or a Claws of Attack plus 15, or Ring of Protection plus 5, or Orb of Frost, you get an Inferno Stone. Now, an Inferno Stone's good, but it ain't like a nice permanent item that is going to make your hero super OP. But of course, Blizzard ain't coming back anytime soon to this game, so I don't think that change is going to be reverted. If you want to know more about the whole Blizzard situation, feel free to look up Warcraft 3 Reforged 1 year later on YouTube by WTiiWarcraft, WTii Warcraft. It might explain the situation of Warcraft Reforged a year since its release. Which, yeah, doesn't look good. It's still playable, it's just we ain't got anywhere near the features that we should have been given, or promised, should I say. But I'm sure Blizzard will come back one day. They went to the supermarket to go get some milk, and they never came back. The orcs and humans teamed up to destroy Overclocked. A good cause. I think that town portal worked really nicely for you. I'm surprised they actually completely gave up on trying to kill you. If he kited them back to his base, he'd be dead by now. But that town portal just completely reset them.
Players' forces are under attack.
So they're just basically creeping the rest of the map. The only problem is once they've crept everything, then what? I don't know if the computer really have an emphasis put upon them to actually creep these spots here, for example, because you wonder if that messes up with their AI. Because you think, okay, is the computer just told to creep everything on the map? And then if so, it can't reach these unless it uses air units, but it doesn't try to creep things with just air units alone. It normally has to have its hero nearby, so it basically can't ever creep that spot unless it somehow does it accidentally. So then if it can't truly creep that spot, it's always there, then it never gets out of the position of being in creep only mode. Do you see what I'm saying? Stylo says at some point they will come to creep that mysterious top left spot. Yeah, this elusive creep camp over here. You could call it a creep camp. It's an overclocked camp, so... He's got a few towers. I think he's going with the tower strategy, which is what Funny Warcraft 3 does. But you have to get a lot of towers. And very careful positioning. You got to remember that you're fighting against, like, not just one computer army, like all of them.
A player's forces are under attack.
A lot of the time. So whilst your towers might be able to pick off like 1 or 2 armies, in a good case scenario, they're like zombies, they just keep throwing themselves at you. You can actually get some nice items from this. I think you can get an aura item or 2. So this was always an inspiration to try to creep this camp somehow. See that? That's a really good item. 10% extra damage on range units. That was a late command. Betrayer! Kale Fass. Go back to the Burning Crusade. So it's tricky to get those creep camps done. I think when I did this as Night Elf, I tried to put Ancients of War here to try to sort of like solo those creep camps early on for the auras. How's Orange doing? He's been a bit quiet. He's got a nice mixed army. Good upgrades. The Demolishers are the scariest thing here. Green is a more caster Tauren based, although they should all be building the same units, I guess. What's he up to? Another burrow, I guess, why not? You're at 92 food, so you may as well go one more. Get up to that elusive 100 food. Yeah, I think these orcs could be a problem, actually. Because of the Demolishers. Demolishers are really good siege units. Crazy good, actually, with all the upgrades. Yeah, the computers do like to max out. They're not very efficient when it comes to using their gold. But they don't have to worry about it because they get twice the amount of gold. They don't always communicate perfectly well with one another, though, as you can see over here. Yeah, some sort of strange party going on here. I guess they all want the Orb of Corruption or something. Orb of Chlam. I can't believe how much time Overclock's had. Like, I don't think I've ever had this much luxury. At least I wouldn't have noticed it when I was playing. Because I'd be too busy doing things to sort of pay attention. I just know that if I'm not being attacked, that's a damn good thing. Because if the computer's attacking you, it's pretty much game over. Got too many peons in the gold mine, but I think his resources are more or less spread. You can work it out. It's always worth getting like a few extra war mills. It's only 200 gold or something, so 215 gold. And it makes your peons a lot more efficient. Green looks ready to go. Level 2 and level 1 heroes. See, another thing you really want to try to stop the computers doing is leveling up, so you don't want to feed them. Because once their heroes get stronger and stronger, it just means that you're going to be fighting versus harder and harder spells. Bigger storm bolts, bigger auras, bigger nukes. So that's never a good thing. So you always want the computer to be at like low levels, so that later on it's much easier to kill them. And also pick them off, so they keep rebuilding their low level heroes and you keep killing them over and over, so they actually theoretically feed you. I have no idea why Red base... Maybe it's because he's the only undead. He's like the most valued player. So he's like here protecting him. It's funny, isn't it? So if they were all commanded by the same computer, would they then move all in the same direction instead of like against each other? Because technically it's like 10 separate computers all doing their own business. Yeah, go attack one of them and see what happens. This is an overclock strategy to get them to waste as much gold as possible. There's only 7,000 gold left in those main mines. Big dragon down. Crown of Kings. Now that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about right there. That's a good one. Just gonna check these heroes and see who nicked the good items. Orb of Corruption on the Paladin seems kind of weird. I always feel like the Night Elf would be one of the grabbiest ones, but he isn't. I don't see, because the other dragon has... Oh, that hasn't been crept yet, that's why. They're getting a little bit closer now, but the computer does like to tease. It does this thing where it gets close and makes it look like he's going to attack and then just disappears. Although Overclocked might tempt some fate with this peon.
A player's forces are under attack.
Yep, they're on the prowl. They smell blood. They got a taste for it now. I don't think these peons are going to be enough to satiate that taste. He's using some peons to attack the wood chopping peons. Oh, look at this. It's like something out of the campaign. The Mountain King looks over. Threatening him, taunting him. The computer thinks this is the shortcut to that base, which it kind of is from that position. But technically this is actually protected by trees, and that's blocked by this building here. Yeah, the computer's been activated. It's only a matter of time. Overclock's got 4,700 gold, 1,000 lumber. Oh, the Inferno Stone comes in useful. Applying that extra pressure versus the tower. Overclock's forced into a position where he's having to blast as many units as possible in his production facilities. Get those coming out. as quickly as you can. You need to mass a little bit. It's like a free-for-all. You build like 4 or 5 of the same building. So you can... A bit like 4 versus 4 RT as well in that sense. So you can quickly build. I think the computer's onto you. The mortars are having some fun with peons.
A player's forces are under attack.
I feel like this guy is in charge of everything. He's like the mastermind. Oh, Overclock's got some attention over here. He's trying to distract the computer. Go for the main. Force him to town portal. That's actually a good move. It's going to work on one of the computers, but probably not all of them. But that's actually not a bad move, because if you could somehow corrupt or sort of persuade all the computers to town portal, then they'll maybe just go away. Towers are dealing with the air forces, but more is on the way. Main base is pretty much done for. Once the main base goes down, that's a very rough spot. It feels very uncomfortable. Yeah, computer's waiting. You got this little bestiary trying to get some wyverns out for whatever good that will do. There's still only the one hero from Overclocked. I think he's dead though. Cornflakes, thank you very much there for the sub. GG. Overclocked. Froze in the tower. Gets 3rd spot though, top 3. So keep working at it and you might make your way to the top spot and dominate all the computers. Good try. Considering that isn't something you normally practice. So, pretty good. Considering 22 minutes to last versus insane computers. Well done.